Have you noticed that the biased press is using Putin's war to avoid talking about the myriad crises Joe Biden has created here at home? And have you noticed the Democrats who dominate the basket of biased press are doing this so that their preferred party, the party that pushes socialism, doesn't meet the full wrath of the American voter come this fall? Sadly, for the Democrats, Joe Biden is also messing up on Putin's war, too. As horrific and destabilizing as Putin's war is, we can't ignore all the harm being done to Americans because of that war and how the puppeteers who are pulling Biden's strings are ill-equipped and not inclined to protect us from that harm. Have you seen gas prices lately? Another Democrat-caused crisis hammers the American people in tonight's preamble. Some Democrats are pretending that because they warned you of the misery that was coming your way, that they're somehow exonerated from accountability for that misery. Still others, like Nancy Pelosi, trying to say that because of Putin's war, that's why you're seeing high gas prices. But that isn't the whole story. Most Americans who are not Democrat voters know and recognize that gas prices were skyrocketing well before Putin launched his war. Back in the first week of November, Biden's Energy Secretary, Jennifer Granholm, God help us all, was pressed by Bloomberg to detail the Biden administration's plan to increase oil production to blunt skyrocketing gas prices.
What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh, my God. That is hilarious. Would that I had the magic wand on this. As you know, of course, oil is a global market. It is controlled by a cartel. That cartel is called OPEC.
Right. You're only the energy secretary. I mean, who would expect you to have a plan to counter OPEC, populated by countries that hate America? What's not so funny is that Joe Biden and his team had plenty of notice that trouble was brewing. Putin has been preparing for war, conducting his military buildup for months. But Team Biden did nothing to change course from their conducting of their war on American energy producers. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. President Trump and his team managed to beat the OPEC cartel. As we all know, Team Trump was populated with very smart, pro-American people, as evidenced by Granholm's inappropriate and revealing laughter there. Team Biden isn't. But to Granholm's credit, her laughter is nowhere near as offensive and inappropriate as the cackling from the border czar, Kamala Harris.
Wow. In San Francisco.
First, after. So my point is,
how do you define what you hear from?
I appreciate you being here on New Day.
Your misery is only funny to left-wingers. And what really has Democrats rolling in the aisles these days is Democrats can't believe so many of you shrubs out there are so willing to keep electing them. Bear in mind, the cost of energy is just one part of the Democrats' overall America Last policy, a policy that is causing so much pain for Americans. Man, it does hurt, doesn't it? CBS News can't hide that pain. They were forced to report that prices at the pump, they are soaring. According to the price tracker at AAA of California, the average price of a gallon of regular gasoline rose from $5.30 to nearly $5.41 in San Francisco in 24 hours this weekend. A week ago, the average price was $4.87 a gallon. If one takes some time to look at certain regions in the People's Republic of California, local gas stations in the once Golden State charged as much as $6.95 for a gallon of regular gas. Drivers who prefer premium gas are required to fork over as much as $7.55 per gallon to fill their tanks. Everybody's hurting. Democrats to Republicans, liberals to conservatives. The Democrats' agents in the press, they cannot spin or hide this pain. So what's left for an extremist left-wing Democrat politician to do? Well, lie, of course.
No matter what we do, prices of gas are going to go up. So any Republicans who try to say that it's drill, baby, drill, and that solves the problem, it's wrong. That is not the case. We are going to see gas prices rise.
That is a bunch of manure. Even those educated in government-run schools know that oil is a worldwide traded commodity. The price of oil works on a supply and demand principle. Ample supply that meets demand yields prices that are reasonable. If supply isn't available to meet demand, the prices go up. Democrats are hoping and praying that their voters are stupid enough not to equate Democrats' war on American energy, which has taken oil supplies off the market, as being at all responsible for America's inability to influence world oil prices. Any fifth grader knows if America was producing oil and natural gas and we were net energy exporters the way we were under President Trump, that America would be able to mitigate the damage from Putin's war, and our prices at the pump would be more stable. Middle schoolers can put two and two together and also realize that our enemies in oil-producing nations like Iran, Venezuela, and Russia wouldn't be able to finance their worldwide malign activities using high oil prices if America lived up to our potential as an energy exporter. So what is the Joe Biden and Democrat plan? Well, they want to buy oil from the socialist dictator in Venezuela rather than use our own oil and pay our own people. According to Morgan Ortagus, Pete Buttigieg hinted that those same Democrat officials would consider buying oil from Iran rather than producing our own oil here in America. At this point, it's fair to point out that whether it is oil from Russia, Iran, or Venezuela, Democrats have never met a dictator who they didn't want to enrich. There's a very good reason for that. Many of those same Democrats see an opportunity to get some of that money back into their pockets. According to reports, the Biden family has made a cottage industry out of selling out our people to foreign nations to make themselves filthy rich. There are many things happening under Joe Biden and his party that wouldn't be happening under President Trump. I'm confident that Putin wouldn't have started his war in Ukraine. I'm confident we wouldn't have allowed over 2 million illegals to stream into America in 1 year over the southern border. I'm sure that our exit out of Afghanistan would have been orderly, and we wouldn't have left behind $86 billion in military hardware for the Taliban to use. And I'm sure that Americans wouldn't be forced into sending our money to nations that hate us, like Iran, Venezuela, and Russia, just to keep our cars running, our homes heated, and our lights on. And we sure as heck wouldn't be approaching $8 a gallon for gas in some parts of this country. When gas prices go up, not only do they impact our ability to fill our tanks, but they also impact everybody else's ability to fill their tanks, including America's business owners who make, ship, and distribute products. Every one of their gas bills goes up too. And they all pass on that increased cost to who? You. Welcome to Joe Biden's America. Welcome to Democrats' America Last vision for you and your family. I hope getting rid of those mean tweets was worth it to you. For me, your liberty-loving Latino, I miss America first.